Simmons, Yavapai County Assessor. How are you?
Good guy.
Good to catch up with you, man. It's been a while.
Thank you for inviting me out. Again, when was the last? I was
Thank
here.
you for coming out.
What did we do the last time?
Not often enough. You need to come out every time you blow up the internet with an article.
Well, I didn't realize that was so popular.
What I want to talk about is that recent article, which I'll let you recap. But afterwards, I also want to kind of redefine your role as the county assessor, because people always need to be reinformed about what the real information is, what you really do, what your offices do. You have a lot of people over there. I know that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that latest article. What was it again? I can't remember, but I literally called you like, dude, you've blown up the internet. What's going on?
So we have 3 personal exemption programs at the assessor's office that can provide property tax relief. And I'll go over them real quick. There's widower exemption, there's a disability exemption, and then there's a veterans disability exemption. And so what happened was last year there was legislation passed that provides 100% full exemption for 100% veterans disability. And so, that's, a very, very.
This relates to property taxes, right?
Exactly.
For the layperson.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. This would be exempt from property tax. So that's been the big hot topic.
That's awesome.
Of course, there's still some qualifications. So with the veterans exemption, there's 2 parts of it. There's a 1 to 99% disability for non-service connected situations, and then there's 100% service disability. So those are the 2, and that the 100% gives you the full exemption from property tax. The confusion is when they passed the legislation, there were some that thought that there was no income qualification. However, unfortunately, the way they designed the legislation,
they're always
wrote
clear
it,
as mud.
yes, and so there is still an income qualifier. So you if you make too much money, you still would not qualify.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we're going to do is embed this podcast into that original article and reshare it again. So that's all good news. I wasn't aware of those exemptions, and I'm sure a lot of people still aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep educating the public. And speaking of educating the public, I'd love to revisit. We've done this in other shows, but do it again. They'll make great reels, educational reels that you guys could use on your website. Is the role of the Yavapai County tax assessor. A lot of people think that you're the big bad wolf that sets the tax rate and collects. We know that's not true.
Yes.
Why don't we go ahead and set the record straight again as to what the role is of your offices?
So we have a staff of about 58 employees. And of course, we are the assessor. And I like to say we're not the tax assessor. Right. So we don't have anything to do with the taxes. We set the values, then the board and the taxing jurisdictions and they're the ones who set the tax rate.
Yavapai County Board of Supervisors sets those rates.
The board sets the county rates, the jurisdictions, including the school districts, fire districts. They're the ones who set the tax rate. And then the treasurer is the one who sends out the bills and collects those taxes.
Okay.
And so what we do in a nutshell is we identify all property. Of course, we list all those properties and we value those properties. So identifying, locate, that kind of thing. So once, a deed comes into the recorder's office, we get the legal description, we parcel it, then our appraisers are assigned to value those properties. Also, we've got, we're also permit driven. So once a permit comes into our office, either new construction or remodel, those
Part of
kind of
that
things,
index. Yeah.
that triggers our appraisers to go out, do their measuring, do their assessing, and we put it into the system. And the other thing I'd like to, explain to people is that, we are, because we have a staff of 58 employees in a county the size of the state of New Jersey, we have 172,000 parcels that we have to value, each year. And so that it is, impossible to do on an individual basis.
Sure.
So what we do is we value based on, it's called mass appraisal. So it's statistics, it's averages. So you take, a certain square footage home in a certain neighborhood in a certain condition, age, those kind of things. And we build value based on those parameters.
Okay. So you got the treasurer who collects taxes. You got the board of supervisors for the county that sets them. And your offices are basically, the way I hear it, like curators that index and organize all those properties for record keeping purposes. I'm dumbing it down
Yeah,
for
yeah,
guys
yeah.
like me.
Right.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for that. And I think the exemptions are awesome. We'll make sure to reshare those on signalsaz.com. What else is going on?
Let me mention too, though, in addition to, we do all of our valuation throughout the year. We're picking up properties, assigning value, those kind of things. And then right about now is our big moment, our big time of years. That's when our value
The cards
notices
come
come
out.
out. Yeah, exactly. So we are gearing up for that. We've already sent, drafts to the printer. And so we're going back and forth on that and making sure everything's ready to go. And once those hit the mailbox, you have, once you receive your notice and you're not, you don't agree with our value, then you have 60 days to appeal that value. And
So
that's the full cash value.
So that's awesome. So what you're saying, this is a great reel, Tony, too, is so there's a third part. When do these notices of value, because we're going to do a story on it like we do every year for your offices, when do the notices of value come out from the Yavapai County Assessor's Office?
So they will probably be mailed February. I think it's the first or second week of February. I don't have the exact date.
So right around we'll call it mid-February. They start arriving.
And so you have 60 days from once once that mailing happens to appeal. And so the process is you go online or come into our office and pick up the petition for review. And that's for the residential property, and you can appeal your commercial property. You can appeal your land values, your ag values, and what happens from there. Then, we kind of shift into a different role, and that's when we put our a fee appraiser hat on. So we're looking at comps, we're going back and forth, they provide, their data, we look at our data. And so we kind of get down to the nitty gritty and, make sure that we have it right. Now, if the decision made is not what the property owner wanted, there's another option. So beyond that, they can go to the Board of Equalization, and that's kind of like it's where we hire a hearing officer,
an arbitrator.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a courtroom scene. So he's up there, he's got the information, you got the plaintiff and the defendant, kind of thing, and everybody brings their information, and then he makes a decision based on how he feels, that what he feels is the right decision, and then. Third option is tax court. So
Gotcha.
Beyond all of that, if you're not happy with
you got options.
Decisions, you got lots of options.
So awesome. We've covered the exemptions. An update on that was just great. We've covered roles of the assessor, which I think is always important to remind everybody what the real information is. We've covered notice of valuation that's coming out somewhere right around mid-February,
Mhm.
and then what your options are if you want to challenge what those valuations are.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, um, we have several departments within our department. We've got personal property, which people forget about. There's still personal property that we value, and that's anything over $500,000. So it's big businesses, big
Uh-huh.
commercial operations. So there is a personal property tax as well. So we have a whole personal property tax division. We have cartographers that do mapping. We have a title division that looks and processes the deeds. They look at the deeds and decipher, figure out the legal description and mostly the ownership
Hmm.
for title. And then cartographers take the legals and, they do all the parceling and the mapping and that kind of thing. And of course, we have our customer service that deals with the exemptions and the people that come into the door. And then my role, as the
Right.
assessor, and I'm kind of the leader, the manager, and
Uh-huh.
we do a lot of I do a lot of public outreach. And right now, I'm part of our state association. So right now, we're knee deep into legislation. So we've got some bills that we're proposing, bills that we're trying to fight, those kind of things. So, and then on top of all that, it's beginning of budget. So we're working on our budget for this year as well.
With the growth that we see, both from a commercial side and a residential side, um, are there triggers within the statutes or what I don't know what you would call it within the bureaucracy or the government? This is okay. The assessor's office needs X more people this year because over the past 5 years, the place has grown by 3.5%.
Right.
Just throwing out random numbers.
Yeah,
But
we're not so much. We can stay on top of the growth um, because mostly it's like I said, we're driven. So construction, is not really does not necessarily match growth. You still people
right,
moving in. They're finding opportunities. It's
right.
not doesn't necessarily correlate. I just got some numbers. I don't know what to do with them, but we are processing about 4,500 permits a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so we issued 3,600 permits last year. We worked 4,300. So we're, from prior years.
Right.
And that's a good number. That's pretty standard. A few years ago, we were up to 5,000, when things were really hot.
That's cranking.
But again, with our staff is still able to stay on top of it, by prioritizing, what needs to be done.
So
So
what
as
you're
far as
saying is your staff hasn't grown, but you've been able to facilitate the growth, which is
correct,
actually good news from a
yeah,
budgetary
we
standpoint.
exactly we
Okay.
try to stay lean. We try to stay efficient at the assessor's office.
Awesome.
Yep,
Is the government starting to use AI?
a little bit.
A little bit.
There are
Random
appraisal
question.
programs out there right now. It's it's expensive. It's like, all right, how is this really going to benefit us?
Right.
Right now we're comfortable with what we're doing.
Don't
know,
fix what's not broken.
exactly. And it's all bells and whistles right now. We do little things like, plugging in for writing letters and,
Right.
those kind of things,
Yeah.
little reports. Those are kind of handy to do.
Cool.
But right now on a big scale, no, we're not there yet. Or,
Cool. What? So I know you're involved with on a personal note or community note. You're involved with, like, is it Boys and Girls Club? And
yeah, I'm on the
what else are you
board.
doing?
I'm on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. And of course, yeah, the 100 Men Who Care.
Yeah.
I'm on that board as well.
We got one coming up
We do next month. Are
next
you going to
month.
go this time?
I'll try to go. I'll try to go just because you asked. You know what
Yes.
we're featuring, or
No, I have not been a part of the planning meeting recently.
so
So
you're giving me a hard time.
yeah, with the holidays, it's kind of we're in a
Right.
hurry up
Get
phase.
thrown off.
So I'm not sure who will be attending for this next month's event, but it's always a good time.
All right.
So, and I'm on another foundation. I stay busy.
Cool.
So yeah, and then on top of the day job.
The day job.
Yeah.
Well, Judd Simmons, Yavapai County Assessor, thanks for coming in again. You just got to keep coming back more often. Got to keep harassing us.
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad we can blow up the internet.
You blew up the internet,
whatever
man.
you said.
Broke it like what was it, 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna.
Do we get a prize or what do we get for that?
I'll buy you lunch.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in, dude.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You bet.